Now Hrgovic just warned Itauma, but nobody seems to be listening. But here's the question. Is this the confidence of an experienced contender or the same mindset that cost him against Dubois? When they meet in the ring, we will have the answer. Now Hrgovic isn't holding back. He called Itauma a hype job. Then he described him as fast, explosive, and dangerous. That's the paradox. The more Hrgovic spoke, the stronger Moses' case became. That's what made this interview so interesting. So let's explore this, and hopefully I can introduce an interesting perspective. So this was a very, very interesting interview. And one of the statements that Hrgovic made was that he predicted a stoppage, and he predicted a stoppage in the 7th round, and he said it with absolute certainty. This indicates confidence. And remember, it's important that a boxer, that a fighter has confidence. It's important that they have confidence in themselves, confidence in their victory. So there's two things there: confidence in their abilities, but confident that they're going to win the fight. And Hrgovic has gone a step further. He's confident that not only is he going to win, he's going to win by a knockout. The real question that underlies this is this confidence real? Does he believe it? Because that's the important thing. You have to believe it. Your team have to believe it. So is this just a narrative, or does he really believe it? Considering his credibility, I would assume that he does believe this. Psychologically, he seems to be a very strong, confident fighter. His confidence will be essential. And for him to mention the 7th round, which is entering the second half of the fight, does that indicate something? Does it indicate that he may think that courage will be the difference? Or does he think that his experience will be the difference? So I think the 7th round narrative is important for him, because he's putting it out there that he's confident and he's coming to win. But deep down, only he knows whether he believes that. And the second statement is that he called Itauma a hype job. And he seemed to relate that to him being British, however that could be a mistranslation. I think it's important here that the hype job narrative, it depends what he means by hype job. If we're saying that Itauma has a promotional machine behind him, then there's truth in that statement. But then we're redefining the term hype job. But if we're saying that he's a hype job, and the hype job has the connotation of meaning that he's hype without substance, then I think that's clearly wrong. Itauma clearly can fight, and he has exceptional genetic potential. And it would appear that the evidence would illustrate that he's exceptional in the ring. He is far from a hype job, but it's important for the promotion that Hrgovic creates this narrative bias. Then in the next statement, Hrgovic admits that Itauma has rare heavyweight speed, is a southpaw threat, and has dangerous explosive power. So he's recognizing 3 different phases there: the speed, the southpaw threat, and the explosive power. By acknowledging Itauma's skills, he's contradicted the hype job narrative. And it's important to realize here that I think when we're talking about the hype job, I think that's part of the marketing. But I think when he's referring to Moses being a hype job, he's referring to that he has a marketing machine behind him. And the marketing machine behind Itauma is bigger than the marketing machine behind Filip Hrgovic. But it's also important to realize that Hrgovic has a clear advantage when it comes to experience. He does have an experience advantage. And if this fight goes into the middle and later rounds, this could become extremely interesting. So the next statement from Hrgovic is that in 20 years of boxing, Hrgovic has never once felt that he did not have a solution. This statement reveals a concession. What is that concession? That concession is that he's been boxing for 20 years. For 20 years, he has been honing his craft. That says an awful lot. Clearly, Filip Hrgovic is a confident boxer, but his ring IQ will be tested when he faces Moses Itauma. And hopefully he will understand that, yes, he's been boxing for 20 years. Yes, he's found the solutions time and time again, but he needs to be prepared for this fight. And adaptability will be essential, absolutely essential, because Moses Itauma has exceptional footwork. And that is going to be a new challenge, I believe, for Filip Hrgovic. The next statement is that Hrgovic references the Dubois fight, and he references it unprompted. And he states that he was the favourite. 80% betted on him, and he still lost. And the lesson here is that being the favourite does not determine the outcome. And that is true. Being the favourite in a match does not determine the outcome. But what's important here is the process. It's important that Filip Hrgovic is at his best, because if he has a chance of victory in this fight, I believe he needs to have an optimal boxing environment to be able to be successful in this fight. So yes, he's right about the outcome. But what he needs to do is ensure that his process is flawless. And then the next statement, and I think this statement is actually quite concerning. He states that he doesn't believe in tactics or game plans. It's just two warriors. Now, this might be a Machiavellian strategy here. He might be, intentionally putting something out that's untrue. And sometimes boxers do this. Sometimes they'll say one thing and really it means the other. An example would be a boxer saying they're going to come to fight, and then you get in the ring and then they box. But if that statement is true, that's an issue. And remember, in his last fight against David Allen, yes, it was a good performance, but Abel Sanchez, his trainer, was not in his corner. And as I've stated, Hrgovic, to win this fight and be competitive in this fight, he needs an optimal camp. He needs great tactics. He needs great preparation. He needs great sparring. If Filip Hrgovic comes into this fight without preparation or without the appropriate preparation, he could get destroyed. My question here is, and I want to state that, Filip Hrgovic is a credible force. He's a credible fighter. But is Abel Sanchez still involved with him? Because if Abel Sanchez is still involved, he will create a conditioned boxer that will be prepared to fight and prepared to go to war. And that's the Filip Hrgovic that we need. Here is my final statement. Think of this. Hrgovic didn't just warn Moses Itauma, he revealed the tension sitting underneath it. The confidence, the scars, the ego, the refusal to overthink. Maybe that is his experience. Maybe it is the doorway that Moses needs, because speed is not hype. Power is not marketing. And Hrgovic needs everything in camp to be optimal to win. Youth is only a weakness until it detonates. Hrgovic thinks he is sending Moses back to school, but Moses might be the lesson that he never saw coming. So that's the end of the video. Now I'm trying to build a digital boxing community. That means I'm interested in your comments, I'm interested in your questions, and I'm interested in your observations. Now, if you want to support the channel, simply like and subscribe and click the hype button. And if you want to watch more content like this, then simply click here or click here. As always, thanks for your time. It is much appreciated.